Gimel Iyar. We're holding now Daf Nun Bet Amud Aleph 52a. Four lines from the top. Tana Devei Menashia. It was taught in the Beit Midrash of Menashia. Yesterday we had a machloket Tanaim between Hananya and who was the other Tanakama and Hananya, if a cat are you allowed to go out with this soger around the cat? Since you don't really need it, it's according to the Tanakama, it was a masui, it was carrying. Hananya felt that every nitiru yiterta lo amrina. Any extra watching, even though it's not really necessary, but since it is going to help you watch the animal, that's not called a carrying, and that's part of the animal. It's not a masui. It's like a regular shmira, and it's not considered carrying. That was a machloket Tanaim. We also said that Shmuel, right, Rabbi Baravuna told Levi that your father said in the name of Shmuel, that Shmuel said the halacha follows Chananya. That kol shmira yeterta, any extra shmira, is not a masui, and it's fine, you can carry it. It's not an issue. So the Gemara says, Tana Devei Menashe is shechakak la ben kanea, yotza be'avsar, b'Shabbat. A goat that you etched into its horns, you made a hole, and you put the rope in the horns of the goat. And that's the way you're going to yotza be'avsar. So you can go out with the leash, with the rope that goes around, usually goes around the neck and the mouth. This person put it into the horns. Yotza be'avsar b'Shabbat. He's allowed to go out with it. And it sounds like this is the only way you're allowed to go out with the goat. Why is this the only way? Why can't you just put it around the neck? Like the Mishnah says, Yotza be'avsar. We need it for Shmira. So the answer is that since the only way to really make sure that the rope stays around the neck of the goat is with putting it through its horns. However, putting it around its neck, the goats are very wild and they move their head back and forth many times until they slip out of it. If they slip out of it, you're going to end up holding the rope, maybe in the Rishut HaRabim, 4 amot. Therefore, it's a whole different issue. Yotza Afsar, it's a good shmira, but the only time the shmira is really good, now actually the Achreinim asked this kasha. They ask, what do we have to make the problem of here? Because you're going to end up carrying it in Rishut HaRabim. Just say that the problem is, since the animal itself might slip out of it, so it's not a good shmira. Once it's not a good shmira, then the animal itself is not allowed to carry it, because the behema eno yotza, the behema is not allowed to carry on Shabbat. This isur that we're talking about in this parak, but you have to come on to the fact that you might end up, even if that doesn't happen, well, it's only because it might happen, so therefore it's already a carrying right away, even before it happens. If the Achreinim say, it could be that the difference is that the Gemara is worried about an Issa D'Oraita here of skila. It's much worse. So that's why we're concentrating more on the problem that the man might end up carrying 4 amot, more than saying that there's going to be an Issa Aseh, which you don't even get makot for. Forget about skila. But anyways, there's an issue here. What the issue is, again, is that it might slip out with its head, and therefore you might end up carrying the rope. What about if you take the beard of the goat beard, and they made some sort of, like a whole braid, and inside all those knots, you stuck the rope inside. Okay? Is that a good watching? You think you can watch a goat like that? Stick the rope through the beard. You make a beard, and you make all these knots in the beard, and then you put the rope inside one of the holes, and then you tie it around the beard. And then you could pull the goat all. So Yaakov says it's not, you cannot watch it. So that's one of the stadim over here. Since if it would try to get out of it, it would be painful for it. So he's not going to come to try to unravel it and get out. If he tries to go like this many times, right, Yaakov, and try to get out, every time he tugs at it, it's going to tug at his beard, it's going to hurt him. So therefore, he's going to leave it alone. Sometimes the knots of the beard come apart, they get loosed. And the person is going to end up carrying the rope for amot. Yaakov, can I ask you to please bring me a bottle of water with a cup? Plastic cup? Thank you so much. And one more thing. Did you see a box of tissues? Thank you so much. So the Gemara says, the Gemara says the Shaila stands. Later we're going to see, coming up, Bezrat Hashem in 2 days, there's a Mishnah that says, when it starts talking about cows, it says the cow cannot go out with a ritzua, a string, a rope, between its horns. Now, what was the function and the purpose of that rope? That you're not allowed to go out with, because that's carrying for the animal. So that's exactly the machloket between Rav and Shmuel. Rav and Shmuel argue about that. Oh wow, that was so fast. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Chad Omar. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, so Chad Omar, one says, Bein l'noi, bein l'shamer asur. Whether you put it on for beauty, right? Not to hold on to the cow. And even if you put it on, l'shamer asur. Okay? It's asur. Why? Now, I understand l'noi is a problem. Because it's not shmira, so it's just a masri. It's not part of it. It's not needed for the watching. But why l'shamer is it asur? And the answer is because it's shmira yeterta. It's extra shmira, because a cow can be prodded along by the owner behind, and it listens. Okay, I'm not talking about a bull, a wild bull, just a cow, and therefore you don't really need that. So even if you put it on to watch it, I like to hold on. I think whatever. Okay, but you don't need it, so it's carrying. So it's asur. And one of the two, either Rav or Shmuel, say l'noi asur u'l'shamer mutar. L'noi, of course, it's asur. But if you're doing l'shamer, it's not a problem. Why? Because shmira yetera is not considered a masur according to this madamar. So we don't know who Rav or Shmuel hold. So basically, this was the machloket before the Tana Kama and Chananya, the machloket Tanaim. Okay. So the Gemara says, Omer Rav Yosef Tistayim the Shmuel hu the Omer L'noi Asur L'shamer Mutar. Let us conclude that Shmuel is the one that says that L'shamer is okay. The Omer Rav Huna B'chi Omer Shmuel halacha kechananya, because Shmuel said that halacha is kechananya, that even if it's a shmir yetera, like by the cat, it's fine. So we have a memra, a saying of Rav Huna B'chi in the name of Shmuel, like Chananya. So therefore we can now safely conclude that Shmuel over here was the one that said it's okay if you're doing it l'shamer. And Rav is going like the Tanakh. Amalei Abaye Adi Rabbo. So Abaye says just the opposite. Tistayem the Shmuel hu da'omer bein l'noi bein l'shamer astur. Let us conclude otherwise that Shmuel was the one that said that even if it's l'shamer, it's going to be astur. Da'omer Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Because Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel. If you remember this, yesterday, Machlifin lifnei Rebbe, they used to switch around the case in the Mishnah before Rebbe and ask him what the halacha would be. If you take a male camel, remember the Shiloh? If you take a male camel and you put the nose ring, really, which you need for the female one, which was wild, and you do the gamal, the naka, the female, be'afsar, they used to ask Rebbe what the halacha was. Mahu ve'omer Omer lefanav Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi kacho malabo. Now Shmuel is saying this. Watch this. Shmuel is saying over this story. This is what they used to ask before Rebbe, and Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi said kacho malabo arba behemois yoytzos be'afsor. There are four that go out with an afsor asus v'apered agom v'chamoir lav limute gomel b'chatovum. Isn't that coming to exclude? Wasn't my father coming to exclude that the gomel b'chatom can't go out? Which means there are four animals that go out with the afsar, with an afsar, and not with a chatam. And one of them was the gamal. So you see that if you use a chatam for a gamal, it's a problem. And why? Because it's shmir yitera, it's too much. He doesn't need that iron thing going through his nose to put the rope through. So you see that Shmuel holds.
Can we watch it on the TV?
The what?
Somebody pulling the rope and...
On Shabbat?
No.
See how it is, how it actually works.
You know, you want to know how it actually works, Yaakov? So you look at the Gemara. The Gemara is much better than that. The Gemara is going to tell you exactly how it works. The TV doesn't tell you how it works. The TV, it's maybe sometimes, maybe people do funny things. The Gemara, that's what the Gemara is going to tell us. Very good question. So you ready? So now, so the Gemara says, look what Shmuel said. Shmuel brought this raya. Shmuel said they asked Rebbe, and Shmuel said that Rabbi Yosi, that his father said, Abba behemot yotzot be'afsar. So and isn't that a proof that a gamal can't have shmir yetera? So Shmuel over here holds that there's a problem with shmir yetera. So the Rabbi is now saying to Rav Yosef that from here we see that Shmuel holds shmir yetera is a problem. Now we have another member of Shmuel, Rav Huna Brachia, saying in the name of Shmuel, the halacha kechananya. Shmuel said straight out, halacha kechananya, that shmir yetera is not a problem. So the Gemara says, Sami ha mikami ha. So Rav Yosef answered Abaye, erase this one for this one. Which means you have a contradictory statement of Shmuel. So if you have to take, one of them is not true, so erase that one. So the Gemara says, Umay chazuz de misamis ha mikami ha. Sami ha mikami ha. Why are you erasing this one for that one? Why don't you erase that one for this one? Who told you which? Why did Rav Yosef decide that the one that was correct was the one that said Shmuel said the halach is like Chananya? Maybe it's the other member of Shmuel. So the Ashkech Shmuel the Omer l'noy also l'shamer muter the itmar, because we know for sure that Shmuel said l'noy also l'shamer muter. Why? The itmar Rav Chia bar Ashi Omer Rav bein l'noy bein l'shamer aser. Rav Chia bar Rav and Omer Shmuel l'noy also l'shamer muter. So since we have a member that says that Rav Chia bar Ovin said in the name of Shmuel, L'noi also l'shamer muter, so we know that the one that he said in the name of Chananya, that halacha kechananya also. Because it was stated the first time we brought it down, we said Chadam or this, Chadam or that. But we found another place that it was stated, people said in his name, Beferish. Okay. So now, there's a very just interesting question over here that The Gemara answered, if you remember yesterday's Gemara, the Gemara said that that's not a proof from the 4 animals that go out. The Gemara says, Loi, l'mu'utei naka be'afsar. All that he was trying to say was the 4 go out with an afsar, but not a female camel going out with an afsar. But it wasn't coming to tell you that these 4 can't go out with a khatam. So the Gemara answered the raya. So how could you bring a proof that Shmuel holds from this raya anything if the Gemara answered the raya? That's the Rishonim's kash over here. The Gemara didn't finish the whole Gemara. Okay, so one pshat is that Shmuel himself tried to bring the raya. The rebuttal, the response was the Gemara's response. But Shmuel, you see what Shmuel was trying to go. That's one pshat. The other pshat is that, no, the raya is, what that Shmuel brought was, we could assume that he stayed with the raya. Because the rebuttal was just like a push-off. But the main thing was the raya. Okay, whichever way it is, but the Gemara is coming out now, actually, that that answer that the Gemara said before was a real answer. Because the Gemara is now coming out that Shmuel holds that Shmira Yetera is not an issue, like Hananya. Okay? Okay. So now the Gemara asks a kasha. Now, really, this is a kasha on Rav. The Rav said that Shmira Yetera is considered carrying, right? So now we're going to bring a braita that holds not. Now, you really, before I even bring the kasha, you could ask, what's the issue? You bring a kasha from a braita that holds not like Rav? There's already a machloket Tanaim, Tanakam by Kat, Tanakama and Chananya. Rav went like the Tanakama, Shmuel's going like Chananya. So if you bring me a new braita that shows like against Rav, so Rav will say, okay, fine. We already know about Chananya. Chananya is already some of the argument. I have a Tanakama in another braita. So what's the big kasha that's about to come now? We're going to bring a proof. We already have proofs against, it's called Chananya, but he has a Tanakama on his side. He can always comfortably follow the Tanakama and not be arguing with Tanaim. So the answer is, it's true. This question, the Ritva says, this following question that we're about to ask is not really a question against Rav, like he's going to fall apart. Just we want to know, is this following Brisa not like Rav and have to follow Chananya, or is there a way out that even Rav can say that this Brisa can follow him? That's all the Gemara wants to know. Meitve. Kshara be'aldei b'maisera. Keshera. If you have a para aduma, and we know that the para aduma, the Torah says, Asher lo aleha ol. You're not allowed to have any yoke on it. You're not allowed to work it or put any weight on it. But anything that you tie upon it for its own need to watch it, that's not called a weight. So it says if its owner tied a mosera, this the mosera is the afsar, the leash, and the thing that helped, the reins. Kshera, it's kosher for paraduma. So the Gemara says, "V'isa kadatach masuhui." But if you hold like Rav and like the Tanakama before, that any extra shmira, like reins or a leash for a para, is extra, right? And if you tell me that a shmira yisera is considered a masui for halachot of Shabbat, because you don't really need it, to let it be considered a weight for the halachot of para aduma, and let it make it pasul and disqualify it for the usage of para aduma. Because the Torah says, Asher lo Allah aleha ol, Amar Achmana, Amar Abaye b'melicha me'ir le'ir. Abaye answers, no. The Braita is speaking about that you're going from its city to another city. And when you travel with a cow from one city to another city, it doesn't like that, because it likes to go back to its comfortable place that it recognizes, its grazing grounds. And therefore, it's going to try to return. And therefore you really got to hold it strongly by its reins and by this afsar. That's when you do need an afsar. And therefore, that's the story of this para aduma, and that's why it's kasher. So therefore even Rav can work with this braita. Rav, what?
The rain doesn't posel the Torah, even if you go.
Even though it's Rav holds in Hilchot Shabbat that that's considered a weight. Shmira, Yetera, anything extra for Shmira, since it's not needed, but not when you go from one city to the other. Because then it's not going to be easy to prod it along, because it's always going to make a U-turn. It's going to keep trying to make a U-turn, going back to its place. Therefore, it's not a Shmira Yetera now. Just
If it's not from one city to another, then you're not allowed to use it?
exactly. According to Abaya, if it would just be from your house to your neighbor or down the block, if you put the afsar, it would be, according to Rav, it would be pasal paraduma. Not according to Shmuel. Because Shmira Yetera and Hilchot Shabbat is all part of the Shmira. So what if it's extra? So what if I don't need it? But I'm doing it for Shmira. I like to do Shmira Yetera. Rav Amar, another answer for the Shita of Rav, Shani Parad Damei Yekarim. Para Aduma is different. Since it's so expensive, as you know the stories, Yaakov maybe heard the stories of how expensive the Para Aduma was, right? Your father will tell you the story at a different time. And then would you do if we'd be able to move a little bit up? Thank you so much. So Rava says, Para Aduma is different. The Damei Yekarin. So expensive that putting on this extra shmira was the norm. So therefore, for the Para Aduma, that's not an extra masui, because you have to do, right, okay. Ravina Amar be moredet. Ravina says, another answer. That Braita was speaking specifically about a very rebellious type of cow. And therefore, even according to Rav, that Shmira Yetera is considered a masui, and you're not allowed to let an animal carry like that on Shabbat, but for a wild animal, for a rebellious type of cow, then that's not called a masui. Okay? Now, according to Ravina, it comes out this halacha is for Shabbat as well. If you have a rebellious animal, putting on things on that animal that are not normally needed suddenly become normal, and you're not carrying. Okay? Okay. So now let's get this. So the Gemara is like this: Hasus basher, and the Mishnah spoke a lot about this share. The share is the collar. The sus could go out with the collar, and then the Mishnah said the chol bali hasher, and all the animals that go with collars could go out with the collar, and they could be pulled by the collar. So a lot of collar in the Mishnah. So the Gemara says, "Ma yotzin u'mayim shachim." What does the Mishnah mean? That they're allowed to go out with the collar and they're allowed to be pulled by the collar. If they're allowed to go out with the collar, obviously because the collar is needed for the shmira. So obviously it means to hold on with their collar. To hold on. So what does the Mishnah have to now spell it all out? Just say they're allowed to walk out carrying their collar because it's needed for the shmira. And obviously vinim shachin basher. You can pull them basher. So Omer Avuna oy yotzin kruchin oy nim shachin. Avuna says they're allowed to go out with, whether it's just wrapped around their neck and even the rope and the what is it called again? The collar, the leash going inside the collar is just wrapped around its neck and it's not really going out for anything more than just the beauty of it. Rav Huna says that's okay. Oinim shachin, or you can go out when the share is actually placed around the neck in a way that it will be able to protect it and you'll be able to pull it. Which means, according to Rav Huna, is an amazing halacha here, even if you wrap it around for the sake of beauty, it's not carrying. What's the pshat? Because it's the norm for that animal. It's the norm for the animal to always have that collar around it. Okay, so even though you're not really using it at all for watching it, since it's normal for those animals to have something around them to watch, therefore it's not a problem. It's a new chidush here. U'Shmuel amar yotzin nimshachin ve'en yotzin kruchin. Shmuel explains the Mishnah that the Mishnah is not two separate things. Yotzin basher stam, even l'noi, and nimshachin when you need it for watching. That's the way Rav Huna said pshat in the Mishnah. Shmuel is saying that if it's just wrapped around in a way that it can only serve as a beauty, it's asur. Okay? And therefore, the Mishnah is saying you can take them out when you use them to actually pull them and to watch them. B'matnita Tana, in the Braisa the Tana taught, yotzin kruchin limashech. Only in a way that you could pull them. Okay? In a way that when I need it, okay, that when I'm able to, that when I need to, I'm able to stick my hand in. There will be enough room for me to stick into my hand into the collar and grab onto it. Okay? Or that the leash is not just stuck in the collar. It's sticking out enough that if I ever need to suddenly grab onto it because it wants to run, I have enough string pulled out that I can just grab onto the string and it will suddenly hold back the animal. That's what the writer says. Omer Rav Yosef, Chazina lahu igli debei Rav Huna. I saw the calves of the home of Rav Huna, yotzin be'aftarein kruchin b'Shabbat. I saw their reins wrapped around them, around their little necks, and they weren't really placed around their necks in a way that they could use for shmirah. They just like tied it around the whole neck. The whole point of the reins is that I have some pull over here. So I saw them wrapped around. And Rav Huna actually, l'maaseh, I saw him do what he said the pshat in our Mishnah is. That if the norm is to tie it around the animal's neck for the purpose of beauty, then you could walk out on Shabbat. Okay? So the Gemara says, Ki Asur Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Omar Rabbi Chanina, he said in the name of Rabbi Chanina, Mulaot, mules, Shel Beit Rabbi, from the house of Rabbi, Yotzot would go out, in those days it was presents, Be'afsirei and B'Shabbat. They would go out also Be'afsirei and B'Shabbat. Iboiluhu. Now what does that mean? Kruchin, wrapped around, meaning in a way that they weren't really ready to be used for watching, and they were just for noi, and therefore Rabbi Chanina's story in the name of Rabbi is a proof to Rav Huna's understanding. Or nimshachin, or they were able to be pulled. Tashma, let's bring a proof. Ki ata Rav Shmuel beYehuda, Amar Rabbi Chanina muda'ot shel Beit Rabbi yotzot v'aftarein kruchim b'Shabbat. The greater chidush, even when they were wrapped around completely, and they were linoi, it was also okay, like Rav Huna said. Okay? So now, Amru Rabbanon Kamed Rav Asi. So the Chachamim told Rav Asi this doubt that they had in the words of Rav Dimi. And the outcome, the result, that they just said, in the name of Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, that Rebbe allowed his animals to go out with the afsar, even when the afsar was tied around, and it wasn't anything more than noi. Since that was the norm, that they went out with the afsar for shmira, so then even though they went out with the noi today, but it's okay. So they were saying, so they told Rav Asi, how did Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda leitzricha? This proof, that they brought a proof from the name of Shmuel Bar Yehuda, that he said in the name of Rav Chanina, that Yotzeot B'Afsarein Kruchim, that he actually heard them say Kruchim, we didn't need to have this proof. Midid Avdimi Nafka. We were able to derive that Rav Dimi's words himself, when Rav Dimi said, even though Rav Dimi didn't say that if they were karuch, if they were wrapped around, or they were not wrapped around, just the very virtue of the fact that Rav Dimi came and said this thing in the name of Rebbe went out, we knew that it meant when they were wrapped around, the greater chidush. Because if Rav Dimi meant only when that Rebbe's animals went out, when they were being pulled, then I already know that from the words of Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, the Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Mahu. They used to change around the case in the Mishnah and ask Rebbe, what would the halacha be if you take the male camel with the nose ring and the female camel with the afsar, Mahu, the Amar Lefonov, Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi said in front of Rebbe, Kach Omar Abba Behemis Yitzitz V'Afsar Susva Pereda Gamal V'Chamor. Now, Rebbe didn't have any answer. Once his Talmud, Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi, said over a proof in the name of his Rebbe, his father, to answer this question, and Rebbe didn't argue with the answer. Obviously, Rebbe is in agreement with the answer. So what was the proof? The proof was that you're not allowed to go out with a male gamal that you're allowed to go out, these behemoth could go out with an afsar, hasus ve'apered agamal v'chamor. So we already know that one of the animals that go out with this afsar is the pered. That was one of the four that Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yossi brought. Ha-pered go out to afsar. And Rebbe was mekabel this testimony. Okay? So therefore, why in the world would Rav Dimi have to tell us that Rebbe's animals went out with the afsar on Shabbat? We know clearly. Why does he have to tell us in the name of Rav Chanina that Rebbe's? We know already, because Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi said in front of Rabbi, in the name of his father, there are four animals that go out with the afsar, hasus ve'apered, and Rabbi was quiet, took it. Forget about the diuk, the inference that they were trying to make, and the proof that they were trying to bring from that. But the simple statement that the pered is allowed to go out, so we already know that the pered needs an afsar for shmira. It's not shmira yetera. So if Rav Dimi wants to add some sort of halacha in the name of Rav Chanina of what happened in Rebbe's house, obviously you know what he was coming to tell us? A greater chidush. That not only did Rebbe allow the afsar and the pered, but he allowed the afsar even when the afsar was totally wrapped around the neck and it was only linoi and it wasn't even for shmira. That must have been the proof of Rav Dimi. No, it wasn't enough. The memory of Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi was not enough. Without it, you wouldn't have known. Okay? The fact that Rav Dimi came and told us, that wouldn't have been enough. Why? The imid Rav Yehuda nafka, because if it would just be for Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, that what? That he said in the name of Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi, have aminu amal lefanav lekibla minei. I would have thought that maybe Rabbi was not mekabel it. Kamashul under Rav Dimi. Therefore, Rav Dimi had to tell you, no, Rabbi was mekabel the halacha. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi was saying, but he wasn't coming to say an extra chidush that even when it's wrapped around and it's only l'shem noy. The Idid Rav Dimi, and if I would only hear what Rav Dimi said, Hava mini hana milinim shochen. I would have said Rav Dimi's story in the name of Chanina that they went out the afser was only when they were being pulled. Aval kruchim, but wrapped around law. Kamashman Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda, that what? That Rabbi allowed the predot to go out, even when they were wrapped around beferish. That's what Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda had to come and tell us. Okay. Okay, so the Gemara says like this. The end of the Mishnah said, Umazin aleyan, you're allowed to sprinkle. What do? We sprinkle. We sprinkle the ashes of the paraduma, the water, on the collars of these animals. If they became tamei, now the animal can't become tamei. You remember that for the rest of your life. A live animal, live, can never become tamei. So what can become tamei? The collar around the animal can become tamei. If it is, then now that became tumat met, if it came into contact with a dead person. So it needs to be purified. So you purify with the ashes of the paraduma, and on the third day after it became impure, on the seventh day, you sprinkle it, and then you put the collar into the mikveh. V'tovlan, and you also put it into the mikveh, bim koman, both the haza'ah, it's the sprinkling, and the tefillah can be done bim koman when they are set in place, which means when they're around the animal's neck. The memra de bnei kebula tumeninu. Is this to say that the collars around the neck are able to be mekabel tumah? Ve'otanan, we learned in the Mishnah in Kelim. I fall a little behind today, I'm sorry. I should really try to catch up tomorrow. Okay? Because I have to leave like mamash in about 5 minutes. Ve'otanan tabat adam tmeyam. The ring of a person's on his finger that's for beauty, tmeya, it's able to be mekabel tumah because it's an ornament for a person. V'tabat beima, but the ring around an animal like a collar, v'kelim, or the rings that go around kelim, ushar kol hatabaot, or all sorts of other rings that are made around doors, for example, teorot. They're not mekabel tumah, because the only thing that's mekabel tumah is an ornament of a person or a keli that serves a person, but not things, not ornaments that serve kelim or behemot. Okay, so the collar around an animal serves a person. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. The Mishnah says only the tabat of Adam is Tameah. But the tabat of Behema, which serves the Behema, so therefore, it's not Mekabel Tumah. What'd you say?
Only when it serves the Behema, but if it's serving the Adam, then it would be able to get
right. So Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. So you see clearly that they're not Mekabel Tumah. So why would you have to be Mazeh or be Tovel them? Right? They're not Mekabel Tumah. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Biba'in minoi Adam linoi Behema. What happened was, we're talking about they used to be used as like a little ornament for a person. And then I changed their status, and I designated them for animals. So even though now I designated them for the usage of animals, since they already were a keli for a person, they were mekabel tumah, they remain to tameh. They remain to be right. Now Rashi learns over here, if you look at the Rashi, he says, B'vayim minoy adam l'noy behema. The top, the last wide line. Matniti kayon shenase shir ze l'tachshit adam, uve'odo le'adam nitma. And while it was on the person, or for a person, it became tamei. It already became tamei, not that it could become tamei. U'le'acha tumato natnu lebehema, v'tzarich le'hatvilom tumato rishona shelo yiga b'taharot. So it sounds like in Rashi that's only if it was already became tamei. But if it wasn't yet tamei, we don't say that it's now susceptible for tumah. We just say that the tumah doesn't just go away because now you're made for an animal and you can't be mekabel tumah. Because once you're already tamei, so it's there. That's the way Rashi learns. Tosfot, I don't know if he agrees with this. Okay, but Rav Yosef Amar. Sometimes a person also uses the collar to pull it, and therefore that's tashmish adam, and that's fine. And the Gemara says, Milo Tanya, because didn't we learn in the Braita? Makel shel behema shel matchet mekabel tumah. The stick that they used to prod along the animal, okay, for an animal, made out of metal, is mekabel tumah. Matam, then made for the animal. Hoil va'adam rodeh behen. Since a person's able to govern over the animal, so it's considered usage for the man. Hachanami hoil va'adam moshech behen. Since a person can use the collar to pull, therefore, it's enough. I can maybe come back today, B'ezrat Hashem. Possible. To finish the Amud. I'm really sorry, Rabotai, that this shir has to conclude now.